or before the quarterly reports. Yeah, just put it D1 or whatever, D2.
And Mark has something.
It's gotta go this way. Yep.
Vendor discussion.
Okay.
So Phil's stuck in Chicago,
Okay.
is that here?
I'm not sure.
See where he was.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah,
his
something
flight
like
to
that.
Asheville got canceled today.
Just talk about it at the end or
Yeah.
after everything, we can
Yeah.
actually.
Air traffic control issues in Asheville.
Oh wait, Asheville.
Yeah, which is,
That's sort of surprising. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've been stuck in Chicago before, but
that's what,
it's always been there.
that's what Darla said, so I don't know, I mean, maybe we'll.
Huh.
We'll sign it and pass it down the line. You can borrow that one for a sec.
Yeah, one of those can pass it down.
Take one, pass it, like in third grade. Get done.
Booklet there. Oh, yeah, good. If not, I'll go get you one.
Welcome to the Town Council meeting, Monday, May the 18th, 2026, our regular meeting. Thank you for being here. It's nice to see so many smiling faces. So thanks again for being here. So I'll call this meeting to order. And first step is, do we have approval or any adjustments to the agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to take the Reagan Lane 2 items off the consent agenda and move them down further for discussion.
Okay,
Which ones, I'm sorry?
the E and F.
Okay, thank you. F and G.
F and G, sorry. They're close together.
Do we need a motion or a vote on that?
Yes.
Are there any other adjustments?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Very good, thank you.
It's the duty of the mayor and every town council member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearance of conflicts. Does any member have any known conflict or interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before town council tonight?
No.
Seeing none, we'll continue. Thank you. So we'll go through the consent agenda. Town Manager Harris.
Mayor, Council, on your consent agenda on page 2, you have your April 13th, 26 Town Council workshop minutes, April 27th of 26, your Town Council regular meeting minutes. On page 12, you have your monthly tax report and release funds. 99.69% of the town's property taxes have been collected as of the end of April, leaving us $14,965.78 remaining to collect. And that was as of the end of April. Moving along to page 19, you have a budget amendment. The ABC stores allocated alcohol education and law enforcement activities for the quarter ending in March 31st. The town received $2,415 for alcohol education and $1,725 for law enforcement. Page 21 is a road closure and social district. The WBA, Weaverville Business Association, has planned its annual musical main event to be held on Saturday, June 13th. To accommodate the planned activities, they're requesting a road closure, a portion of Main Street and social district for this event. The attached map shows that where that area is planned for. On page 39, well, we're skipping 39 and 43 has been moved to discussion items. So moving to page 47, which is approval of audit contract At the direction of town council, staff negotiated a 3-year contract with Golden Killian for annual financial audits beginning in the fiscal year 23-24. The audit fiscal year 25-26 will be year 3 of that contract with a fee of $30,000 for the audit plus $6,000 for completion of the annual comprehensive financial report totaling $36,000. This fee is expected to increase 2%, which is $750 over last year's cost. Anticipated there will be 1 or more single audits for federal monies that the town has received or is expected to receive during the current fiscal year. The Local Government Commission, LGC, requires that the audit contract estimate and the cost of those single audits and $3,900 is included for auditing of those 2 major programs. The contract binds the town for this 1 year only. The contract must be executed by the town in order for the auditor to provide the same to the Local Government Commission. Moving along to page 69 is the audit response letter to the LGC, again, the Local Government Commission. This letter explains town's current plan to expand our water treatment plant and shows that we are already responding to the fact that our water fund assessments are more than 50% depreciated by working on replacement of aging assets. This letter must be signed by all council members as well as the manager and finance director. That will require wet signatures on that document. Moving along to page 71 is your water treatment plant resiliency project with some change orders. TP Howard has been working at the treatment plant on resiliency projects that included the installation of a backup generator and raw water intake and the chlorine gas conversion. The contractor and engineer are recommending a change from the air actuated transfer pump to electrical actuated transfer pump. This change has been reviewed by town staff and approved. Change order 3 does not increase the cost of the project or the number of days to complete it, but does change it from the air actuated transfer pump to an electronic. And change order 4 is to replace the existing 2-inch backflow preventer on the 2-inch PVC line to be used to fill the bulk tanks at an added cost of $3,147. And that concludes your consent agenda.
Thank you very much.
Need a motion to pursue, approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor and council, now for your manager's report. Before I get into that, one thing I would just like to bring to your attention in case you aren't familiar with, but is our credit card approval process. As there have been several headlinings across the state, but on credit card approvals for our agency, it does require 3 sets of eyes to land on it, whether it be department head, myself, or finance director, and then sprinkles up in our finance office. So we do have, once a credit card purchase is made for approval, there are 3 different sets of eyes looking at that. So just so you're tracking on how that policy works for us. So, moving into our manager's report, the City Vision Conference, Councilmember Young, Councilmember Barnett, myself attended City Vision, went down and received the Municipal Leader Certificate of Municipal Excellence. And then there were several classes that Councilmember Young and Barnett attended that during that process. When trash trout litter trap in the Rims Creek, operating out of Asheville, has selected Rims Creek as one of 3 locations in Buncombe County for free installation and upkeep of trash trout litter trap. Any bit of litter and debris that can be caught and removed from waterways is an environmental benefit. Relief from the satellite annexation cap. Senator Julie Mayfield and Daniel Moffitt have sponsored the local bill that would remove the town of Weaverville from its 10% satellite annexation cap found in General Statutes 160A, 58, 1B. This is a local bill, which is Senate Bill 811, passed out of the Senate with a unanimous vote and is now pending in the House. Advent Health held their community meeting tonight or this afternoon at the Community Center for their engagement process. And they should be wrapping up shortly on that. It was from 4 to 6. USACE grant representatives from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will be on site on May the 20th to conduct a full plan set review with the town on the waterline replacement portion of this grant project. These waterline replacements are expected to be out for bid this fall. Northridge Farms update. The culvert crossing appear to be close to completions and will allow the shifting of traffic from Gill Branch Road to Northridge Commons Parkway. A gate and signage will be installed to direct construction traffic through the Northridge Commons and away from the neighborhood along Gill Branch Road. There are active conversations around their streets and greenway connections, including a meeting that is scheduled to occur just prior to tonight's town council meeting. It's our hope that those discussions, good update to present to council during your June meeting with those discussions around that topic. Main Street Nature Park and Stormwater Stream Bank Restabilization. The Land and Sky Regional Council has assisted us with submitting the 26 North Carolina Land and Water Fund Restoration Grant application, requesting an additional $135,700 in grant funding for this project. A representative from North Carolina Land and Water Fund conducted an on-site visit on October 30th and offered positive comments during the visit. Grant awards will be announced on October the 1st. If awarded, the town will need to adopt restrictions that would prohibit any disturbance within the identified stream buffers as conditions and funding of staff. I do not believe this will be unduly burdensome. We'll review with council in more detail if awarded the funding. Speaking and teaching engagement events on April 28th, attended the WBA Woodville Business Association meeting. I'm speaking that night. On May the 9th, I delivered a keynote address at the AB Tech's Fire Academy graduation. On May the 13th, was invited to teach at the Fire Chiefs Conference class presentation there. They've asked me to come back and do another leadership speaking engagement at their upcoming conference. So then on the LIFT grant application for our pickleball center, we received information that it would not be moving forward in that process. There is tomorrow, Wednesday I believe it is, the Wildlife Commission will be restocking catfish down at Lake Louise. We were notified late on that they would be handling that process. That was after your manager report was already produced. Memorial Day observance. The annual observance for Memorial Day will be held at 11 a.m. on Monday the 25th at our community center. The guest speaker will be U.S. Army Sergeant First Class retired Donald Funderid, who served active duty from 1971 to 1973 and is U.S. Army Reserve for 20 years. The invocation and benediction will be provided by Reverend Lou Grant of Zion Missionary Baptist Church, and the Asheville Senior Chorus will lead the singing of the national anthem, patriotic songs melody. We invite you to attend that program to tribute to our fallen men and women who have bravely served and protected our country. Upcoming meetings and events. Memorial Day observance at 11 a.m. at the Community Center again. Planning Board meeting will be on June the 1st at 4 p.m. On the 28th, Monday, town offices will be closed for Memorial Day. On June the 3rd, Tree Board meeting at 6 p.m. June the 6th, Music in the Park at 6 p.m. The band is My New Favorites. On June the 8th is our town council regular budget workshop meeting at 6 p.m. here in the chambers. And on June 22nd, town council regular meeting at 6 p.m. here in council chambers. And that concludes the manager's report.
Thank you very much. Going to enter into your general public comment at this time. You have a statement that I have to read. Town Council appreciates the opportunity to hear from its residents, and a part of each of its regular meetings is reserved for that purpose. The rules that Town Council has adopted for public comments will apply. Copies are available on the website and in the meeting room. General public comments may be submitted during the meeting or in writing in advance on any meeting topic or any other item of interest. The same rules that were reviewed earlier in the meeting for public hearing comments will apply to the general public comments. Well, we're going backwards right here. So normal rules of decorum apply to all comments, and duplicate comments are discouraged. Actions and behavior can be questioned, but personal attacks will not be tolerated. This is a time for town council to listen, and town council and staff may not necessarily offer any response during this time. I've been asked to say this is not a question and answer session. The general public comments section of the meeting will be limited to 20 minutes. Comments during the meeting are generally limited to 3 minutes. The town manager keeps time. If the alarm indicates that your 3 minutes are up, you will not be cut off mid-sentence, but you'll be asked to wrap up your statements. You must be recognized before giving your comment, and you must come to the podium to speak so we can all hear you. You should identify yourself by name before beginning your comments. Written comments timely received before the meeting have been or will be provided to town council. So, that said, Beth Mangum.
I'm Beth Mangum, a downtown resident, and together with my husband Rob, owner of Mangum Pottery on Main Street. I've been a part of the team that founded the Weaverville Business Association in '04, and the team that has produced Art in Autumn from the very beginning back in '07. I am also currently serving on the board of directors of Arts AVL, which is our area arts council and tracks data about the arts and economy in Buncombe County in Western North Carolina. Arts and entertainment was responsible for over $1 billion in revenue for the years of 2023 and 2024. Data and detailed info on that data is available on the Arts AVL website in the Advocacy tab. Throughout these many years that we've been producing our events, we have had varying levels of support and engagement from the town of Weaverville with changes in town council and town administration, and we've been able to work with all of these. In recent years, we have had increased momentum in support offered for our events from town government and that recognize the value of our events, and that has been very helpful. We hope we can continue getting good support from the town for events and build on that. We chose the date for Art in Autumn in September when business is slower and our business community needs an economic boost. There is no question that some businesses receive a boost on the day of the event and from the exposure our beautiful downtown receives as a result. We have folks returning to town to shop or go to a restaurant or brewery after they visit our town that day and see what a vibrant town this is. Another benefit from the festival is the culture of community spirit and cooperation with the town of Weaverville and volunteers. This highlights the unique quality of life in our town. I know of several folks who have decided to move to Weaverville and or set up a business here after their positive experience in town at the festival. This festival and our other events are an important factor of what drives the economy of downtown Weaverville and the overall economic health of Western North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Cindy Ward.
Hello, my name is Cindy Ward. I am not a resident of town, but I do own a business here on Main Street, Weaverville Realty. I too have served on the WBA board since its inception in 2004. I have been delighted with the evolution of the WBA and the town's relationship over time. It's been amazing to see that grow. I am the chair of the Weaverville Music on Main. This is our 8th year, and as many of you know, that festival has been growing, and we draw lots and lots of people from near and far. People love this event because it's family friendly, and we really get to show off the charm and local community that we have here. We know that event, as many others, are not perfect, and we're always looking to continually improve and strengthen our partnership with the town. The WBA does great things for this community. It brings significant money, sales, community interest, and growth. I'm proud to serve on the WBA, and I'd love to continue and strengthen our partnership with the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason Jano.
Hey everyone, thanks for your time tonight and for allowing me to speak. I too am here to support the WBA. I'm a downtown business owner, Maya Gallery. And that business has been going for 20 years. I took it over a few years back. You know, brick and mortar has its challenges since the internet came along, and we got a lot of artists that sell directly to customers, and these downtown events that we have bring people through the doors. And so Music on Main, Art in Autumn, very important to my business. A lot of my artists that whose work we carry in the galleries, and the gallery does these shows. And you know, we learn in business that we have to have a target customer. And as everyone here has noticed, Main Street's very busy. We have a ton of traffic. That does not equate to people coming through our door, nor does it equate to sales. We have a targeted customer that is educated and supports the arts and has expendable income. And art, you know, enriches people's lives, and we need those people to walk through our doors. The more events that we have related to that, the more educated those people become on what Weaverville can do for them. And we have a lot of people coming here. They're a little, Asheville isn't as quaint as it used to be for them. So we have people coming from Asheville and people coming from afar. And so it's important to keep these events going. And appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize. I have to go.
Okay, Josh Garris.
Hi, my name is Josh Garris. Thank you guys all for your time and listening to what we have to say. I am not a Weaverville resident, but I am a lifelong Asheville, Western North Carolina resident. I am currently the owner of Curtis Wright Outfitters on Main Street. I have been sole owner for 2 years. I purchased it from my business partner, Jeff Curtis, who was one of the founding members of the Weaverville Business Association. And, you know, I've worked in the shop at Curtis Wright Outfitters for 21 years myself, as a shop employee to a guide, and have seen the value in, you know, all the events that the WBA puts on, to include Art in Autumn, the Music on Main. We are not an art-based business, but that still brings a lot of foot traffic to our store, both events and the other ones as well too. And it gets us exposure to folks that we might not normally have come across our paths, and, you know, let them know that what we offer. And, you know, many a time we have people come in that were first exposed to Weaverville from these events. And, you know, I can't say enough the value for us as a business owner, and then also, you know, our complete employee list, guides and shop employees. They all look forward to these events all year, even though we're in the shop working and not getting to participate in a lot of them. But we do see the value of the events, and we're very happy to be involved with as much as possible. Since I've come on as an owner and starting to attend the meetings regularly, it's amazing the community that we have of other business owners in this area, and just I look forward to keeping it going and growing more and more. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stan and Sue Reese.
Yes, I'm Stan Reese. I appreciate the time. We've become concerned about temporary rentals, VRBOs. We live on Robert Street. We've been here over 33 years. When we moved in, we had 8 houses, which is great. We've had 3 or 4 more houses added on. But now we have, at the end of the street on 2 lots, 3 or 4 temporary rentals with plans to build more. I know many of you are real estate people and probably realize that this could be good, could be bad. We enjoy having new neighbors. I'm not real crazy about living next to Motel 6, or so to say. So what I ask is, I'm not sure what Weaverville's laws are or regulations, or how often you allow variances to temporary rentals. But I just ask that someone look into it and see if this is something that would benefit Weaverville, to not have so many variable rentals on a dead-end street, particularly because everyone that comes down has to turn around and go back out. And it's just a lot of traffic on a little one-way street with 11 homes plus 4 VRBOs. But I appreciate you look into it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Spooner.
Looked into it. And where's Tom? Okay.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. My name's Amy Spooner. I'm a Weaverville resident as well as a small business owner. I own Artisans on Main. And I am on 2 committees for the WBA. And I just wanted to come here tonight to share with you all the importance that the WBA has made on my life and my family's life as a small business family here in town. So since taking over last year, I quickly jumped in and jumped on into some different events that we have, specifically Music on Main, Art in Autumn, and both of those events generate a significant amount of income for my business, which then impacts the artists, the 70+ artists I have in my store. The mission kind of Artisans on Main is art should be accessible to everybody. So again, what's great about these free community events is that it drives people of all budgets down here, and then they're able to support the arts and the local economy as their budget sees fit. The WBA has been a lifeline for us, specifically during the holiday time. The Candlelight Stroll, it's one of our best days in the month of December. And as you all might know, once January hits, Main Street becomes very quiet. So the WBA is working very, very well in listening to all of its members and all of the businesses in Weaverville to make sure that even during those slower months, there's events going on, and they're a big joy to work with. On top of that, the business owners that I got to know through the WBA have been so integral in helping me in my first 2 years of being a business owner. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor Lawrence. And for the record, we have received the U.S. Postal letter that you all also received electronically, and there is a hard copy as well as the other citizen concerns. That's for the public comment portion of the meeting.
Just for the record, I don't think any of us are in real estate. I'm not.
Okay, we're moving to our public hearing on the budget. Statement regarding comments during public hearings. We do have a public hearing on the agenda tonight, so the rules that the town council has adopted for public comments will apply. Copies are available, as I've stated before. The public hearings are topic-specific. Comments on the topics were allowed to be submitted in writing in advance of the meeting, and others will be received during the hearing. Normal rules of decorum apply to all comments, and duplicate comments are discouraged. Actions and behavior can be questioned, but personal attacks will not be tolerated. This is a time for town council to listen, and town council and staff may not necessarily offer any response during this time. 20 minutes for the public hearing, and limit your comments to 3 minutes each, please. And you know what happens when the alarm goes off. So, it's the first statement for public hearings.
I think you've got your list there, people.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Terry Westerman.
Yes.
Come forward, sir.
I didn't have anything prepared. What's this about?
That's okay.
Okay.
This is a public hearing for the annual budget.
You signed up to speak, or somebody signed you up to
Somebody
speak,
signed you up to speak.
or we have the wrong, or we have the wrong piece of paper.
need to sign in coming in.
Ah, we're glad to have you. You're not in trouble. Sorry.
Okay.
Maybe we should make everybody sign up to join.
Well, let's see, I think that leaves Darla.
You brought a crowd, Darla, thank you.
Darla Letourneau, resident 16 Lakeshore Drive. I am here tonight to speak in support of the draft 2026-27 budget, which was basically endorsed by the town council at your May 11th budget workshop. This year's process represents a major improvement over previous years in 3 key areas: staff proposals, council involvement, and public engagement. First, the town manager and staff developed a budget based on documented need to maintain the high level of service that Weaverville residents have come to expect. Our rapid population growth over the last 3 years has strained town infrastructure and services, and this budget proposal finally addresses some of that strain. Staff successfully highlighted critical operational timelines, including lag times between when a funded staff position actually is ready to operate in the field, which is often more than a year. Also, there's a lag between when the services have to be delivered to new residents, either by annexation or in new housing developments. There's a lag between when the service is needed and when the tax revenues come in from those residents. Crucially, the budget also focuses on updated pay scales and personnel policies with the goal of recruiting and retaining our talent. Second, the town council demonstrated hands-on involvement during 3 comprehensive budget workshops. Council members prioritized providing necessary resources while protecting our savings. That means ensuring that the fund balances are reserved for capital expenditures and emergencies rather than for ongoing operations. Both staff and council framed this as a multi-year roadmap. It addresses current backlogs, but it also is preparing Weaverville for the growth that Advent Hospital is going to bring. This budget wisely lays the groundwork for the next couple of years. For example, there's funds in the budget to study, to prioritize the investments for safe and connected walking infrastructure, with the proposed construction to begin in the following budget year. It also funds planning for future property acquisitions, including a potential police department building and maybe a second fire station. Furthermore, this budget utilizes debt service for heavy equipment and vehicle purchases that allows the town to strategically spread out these capital costs over the next 5 to 10 years. Finally, the opportunities for public engagement were excellent. I just want to thank the council and the staff for providing all these opportunities. If this had been last year, this would have been my first opportunity for public comment at the public hearing, which is when the process is all done. And instead, you've had to listen to me at least, I think 6 times. So I really appreciate the citizen engagement improvement. Thank you.
We
Thank you, Darla.
Thank you.
I think that's all the comments we have for the public hearing.
And for the record, Mayor Lawrence, I'd like to note that the annual budget comments that you received were electronically given to you, as well as the hard copies from concerned citizens and their suggestions.
Very good, thank you. So at this point,
Mr. Mayor, Council, if I may, on the budget process, before we move on to discussion items in this, but just to kind of give you an update of where we are, because one of the questions that came up at the last workshop session was on the 2% contribution to 401K with a matching up to 6%. We did get clarification on that. Once that 2% is contributed, it is the employees. There is no vested time on as far as the retirement goes. You got to be vested for 5 years. But as far as this contribution goes, it would be immediately for the employee itself. So,
Thank
you. Any other discussion about the budget at this time?
Are we still in public comment section?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we got everybody who signed up. Okay.
So we can close.
So we can close the public hearing. Public hearing's closed this time. Okay. So, Town Manager Harris, do you have any other discussion about the budget?
yes, sir, Mayor, Council. On this, just to kind of give you, you've got the two comparisons in there, which is where we started out on our original proposed budget. Just some highlights on that was the HR position, the part-time finance front office position, 2 police officers and the water maintenance tech at that point in time, which was funded at the 1 year, and our water treatment plant operator with the proposed 3% COLA cost of living. We talked about the health insurance adjustments, increasing 8%. Some vehicles added in that, with 4 patrol vehicles, 2 for public works, a swap loader, message boards, security cameras for PDs and drone equipment, meter replacements. Then on our capital project funding, water line replacements, water treatment, chlorocone, backup generators at our High Bluff tank, stormwater improvement, and playground resurfacings. The additional budget that was brought back to you showed some updates once we got information from our property tax revenue, fire fund cost share contribution, with some anticipated stuff. We still don't have all the numbers from the county, and we still don't know the outcome of the bill that's making it through on that, where that's going to land on the property revow. Fire department salaries at a recruitable wage, police department salaries, pay parity, retention bonuses, public works maintenance tech, changing that position from a half-year to 1 year funding, public works living wages, Main Street lighting and holiday tree, IT services, unexpected expenses increased, and water engineering services, policy amendments, again, going over the vested part on 2% matching, increased our paid paternal leave from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and increased starting annual leave from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. As you go through this discussion, we've had some discussions on salaries, where we want to land on that for recruitable wages, and actually had approval to post some positions that you were comfortable with for the upcoming budget year, so that they would go ahead and start receiving applications. But one of the things tonight for discussion, if you were open, that is for our job postings, if you are comfortable with the new salaries that were recommended, if we could post those at the salary that was recommended in the new year, if you feel that would be part of the adopted budget, or we can wait and post that after July with the salary change. But if you were comfortable for recruiting purposes, if we could go ahead and advertise those positions at that salary rate, if you felt that was going to be in your adopted budget, just to try to get ahead of some of these other recruitments going on with Asheville and some departments around us, to be able to make it more attractive. So,
yeah, I think we're going to be competing with several departments trying to get police officers and firefighters, and I think the sooner we can get ours posted, the better.
all right, thank you. Consensus on that.
Consensus of the board.
All right, thank you. I'll let our department heads know to go ahead and update that salary requirement, get those job postings out there.
Thank you.
So, quick question, and I think I know the answer, but maybe everybody, or 40 guests, don't know. So everything in your green column with your recommended budget includes everything in the blue column?
Correct, yes.
Without stating the obvious. And then that number, tax rate, without the reevaluation, has changed twice on us. Is 46 what it is?
Correct, that's our latest number.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And that's without the reval, that's using the $1.2 billion of taxable property, right, that we had, that we go back to.
We did get updated figures from the county that
Uh-huh.
allowed us to recalculate that and go down just a little bit.
So do we know those two numbers?
Let's see if
On the new rebound numbers?
No, the old, what are you getting? I can do the math to go backwards on the 46. How much dollars is the 46 based on the property value of the entire town?
So the property value is what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Is that what is that, 1.2 billion? I don't know what it is, trillion?
The new value we got was 1.3 billion
1.3, so that's still right in that, without the reval, right?
without the rebound.
Right, and the reval, we know is a moving target based on what's happening, and that's still hovering around 1.8.
1.8.
Okay. So we're now looking at, if you subtract, and we did this last week, 46 minus 38, right? Our current tax rate's 38. So 46 minus 38 is 8 cents. Divided by 38 is a 21% without the reval. Every person in the town of Weaverville will have a 21% tax increase, equally across the board, which you guys weren't here last week. I actually said was the fair way to do it, where Phil Barnett is looking at a 100% tax increase based on Buncombe County's silliness. I'm looking at an 83, and Mark's down low.
25.
Yeah. So I'm in favor of not using reval, because that means I'm not doubling my taxes without doubling my services. So everybody sitting in here who pays taxes, you're looking at 21% increase in your taxes to the town, unrelated to what Buncombe County's going to do, and they're at least a 10%. And I don't know what they've said on the reval. Do we know what the county said? Reval, no reval, or are they going in circles?
They don't know, they're waiting on the same legislation.
Right, but do they have a plan like we do? All I've
Yes.
seen is,
Yes.
right, so what I've seen is 4% above revenue, or 4 pennies more, but do they have this sort of thing as well?
Correct, yes, sir. They, I don't recall what tax rate it was, but it was going to go basically like we did, is whatever number it required to fund their recommended budget, then that's where they were going to land at.
Right, so what we're looking at, and we had this discussion, it really doesn't matter what the state does. The town council is agreeing with Scotty that we're gonna give him $20,370,446. And so it doesn't matter what the rate is, he's getting his money, and you're gonna pay more so he can get the money, or you're gonna pay less per 100 if the reval goes in. And that means he pays less, but I pay more. Right now, we increase equally, so. We got a couple comments from people, I don't mind my taxes going up, I said this last week. I haven't met a person in town who doesn't want their taxes to go up. Everybody I talk to says yes, pay more in taxes, so we're doing that. We're gonna charge you guys more in taxes, because that's the feedback we've gotten, is you wanna pay more in taxes as a town, so.
Well, I think in order to maintain services to the level that we're doing, we don't have a choice but to increase the tax rate. And, you know, we're all paying it too. We don't like having to pay more taxes any more than anybody else, but we also want to make sure that we're keeping services at the level of which you're accustomed to. And so in order to do that, it does require a tax increase.
And I appreciate Scotty's and Jennifer's and Tanya's work on trying to follow our thought process, as Darla already mentioned, that we don't use our savings account for operational expenses. I think that's super important. Even though Peter's in favor of debt.
Mr. Harris, do we have any idea yet on the fire tax rate?
No, ma'am, it was proposed at 11, some over 11 cent, but some of the chiefs are still asking for a increase because they don't feel that that adequately funds it, but that, we don't know what yet. It will be in her recommended budget to the commissioners. So,
And do
but
we
right
have
now,
any
we
idea
know
when
it
that
will
will be?
not, it will not go any less than what we currently have. There
Mhm.
could possibly be an increase in that.
So do we know when that decision will be made?
I don't know the date offhand, but it's her recommended budget, for June, early June is when that goes through for their process.
All right, thank you.
Are we still investigating a potential change in IT support for the town, given I remember the last meeting, there was quite a substantial cost increase with our current provider?
Yeah, we've reached out to our current provider and asked for some more guidance and logic on that increase and having discussions with them, as well as a call scheduled for this week with another vendor to be able to get some comparisons of, and I know it probably wouldn't be able to happen before this budget year, it'd be a lot quicker, but I do want to be armed well enough going into this process that that we're fair and equitable across the board with taxpayer dollars, that we are doing our due diligence on researching if we're getting the right services for our money. So,
Great.
Thank you for your work. I know it's been a lot.
thank you. Mayor and council, following up on Councilmember Young's comment, I do appreciate the feedback that y'all have provided in this. As you can see, this budget is probably one of the more challenging ones that not only I've had to do, but our finance director and Jennifer and working across that. We've talked to other managers out there that are dealing with the tax increase and the unknown and those not dealing with it. And it's very complex and challenging. So I know the numbers have fluctuated that we've presented to you. But again, it's because of the unknowns. As Councilmember Young just mentioned, we still don't even know what the end balance of the fire tax rate is going to be. So it's still been a little challenging. So I appreciate y'all's lenience on that as we've presented these budgets with a little bit of unknown and giving you the best and most accurate data we have at the time in this process. So again, thank you for your guidance on that. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Harris, I certainly want to express the thanks of the council and extend those thanks to your staff as well. They've done a great job.
Thank you.
It's been challenging for everybody.
So I will say this is a great honor for me to be able to introduce our next speaker. We have met in a couple of interesting situations, but now it's time for him to step up and put his money where his mouth is, I guess. So, Fionn Arroyo, I sure hope you're still in the room.
I just want to say thank you, Mayor Lawrence, for letting us have the opportunity to be on the agenda today. And I want to say good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council. If you have any questions, I respectfully ask that you please hold them until I am done with my presentation, because I get easily distracted. Thank you. My name is Fionn Arroyo, and I am speaking tonight as the president of the Weaverville Business Association. The mission of the WBA and our events in this town is to foster community spirit and a thriving local economy. We want to directly address the recent budget workshop discussions regarding municipal services for public events. To start, I must take this opportunity to clear up a frequent topic of misinformation regarding WBA events. The Weaverville Business Association has absolutely nothing to do with the holiday parade or its planning, funding, and operations. It is strictly an event of the town of Weaverville. Any municipal costs or staff hours tied to the parade must be removed from any calculations of the WBA's operational footprint. A recent budget workshop summary notes an estimate that the WBA events cost the town around $85,000 annually in police, fire, and public works services. We believe that this number is much less, and we have some data to support that. We have requested line item accounting of the expenses and are now requesting it formally for the record. I lost my place. Okay. We need to see exactly how these costs break down by department, by specific event, and by labor hours. The town generously provides the WBA with an annual $6,000 contribution towards the production of Art Autumn, bringing the total estimated level of annual municipal support to approximately $25,000 for all 5 WBA events. These estimates were derived using police and public works salary data from comparable small towns throughout North Carolina, with calculations based on the higher end of those pay ranges to provide a conservative estimate. If the town is calculating expenses beyond these figures, it would be beneficial for us to review the itemized line entries together so we can better understand where any discrepancies may be originating. To help clear up any confusion regarding event responsibilities, here's a breakdown of which events are organized by the WBA and which are organized by the town. The WBA events are Art in Autumn, Music on Main, Candlelight Stroll, Salute to Summer, and the Shamrock Festival, which I believe is going to be discontinued. The town events are the holiday parade, the 4th of July celebration, summer music series in the nature park, and the homecoming parade, which is, I believe, discontinued. The need for this itemized breakdown becomes clear when reviewing the figures compiled by the WBA's Economic Evaluation Report, which was sent to the mayor, town manager, and town council members earlier this year. We would love to work collaboratively with the town to determine what the actual costs are. Once we understand the baseline costs, we could then determine if a revision to the WBA town collaboration is needed and how best to achieve this in a way that works for everyone. Based on the town's report, internal metrics, and standard municipal fee schedules, the estimated cost the town would incur to independently produce and manage the WBA's core calendar events in the absence of WBA involvement would be $192,500. That is, again, the total estimated replacement cost if the town was doing it without the WBA. This cost is significantly higher than the funding required to support a full-time executive director for the WBA directly. By investing in WBA capacity, the town benefits from an existing structure that delivers these outcomes more efficiently. It was also mentioned that the WBA is looking to continue adding more events. In reality, we are actually scaling back by removing the Shamrock Festival, as I mentioned previously, and focusing our efforts on our 4 core events: Art and Autumn, Music on Main, Salute to Summer, and Candlelight Stroll. The idea of a scavenger hunt was simply a preliminary concept discussion. It would have been organized and managed entirely by the local churches, with the WBA only assisting in promoting the event if needed. Any significant changes to our events could impact not only the quality of life within our community, but also the long-term sustainability of the WBA and the strength of our local business economy. These events have helped shape the culture, identity, and sense of community that define present-day Weaverville. Art and Autumn and Music in Maine, in particular, are the WBA's primary fundraisers and are essential to the lifeblood of our organization. In contrast, Candlelight Stroll and Salute to Summer are community-focused events created by the WBA as gifts to the citizens of Weaverville, and they are not designed to generate revenue for the organization. It should also be noted that this entire discussion originated from the WBA's request for financial assistance in supporting our administrative position. We were encouraged to pursue this conversation by members of the town administration as well as current council members to align it with the town's strategic plan and goals for community engagement, for which we did. Initially, our position was that the WBA would maintain full control over the role. However, with time, discussions have progressed, the concept has evolved into the possibility of creating a hybrid position shared between the town and the WBA. With proper funding and support, such a position would be far more attractive to future qualified candidates and could help address the turnover rate that often comes with the stress and limited compensation associated with the role. A shared position could divide responsibilities in a way that reflects the significant overlap that already exists between the town's community engagement initiatives and the work the WBA already provides in support of the community and local business environment. We are not sure there is a full understanding of the limited budget under which our volunteer-run nonprofit organization operates. That is why we believe it is important to review the actual numbers together so we can continue building a collaborative partnership that benefits both our community and local economy. The very things that make Weaverville such a very special place to live. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Fionn. Appreciate that very much.
Is there any comment or discussion here?
I don't know why we can't.
I just wanted to make one comment, and this came from the folks who spoke in the public comments section about the events. And y'all, I guess y'all saying how people who have come to the events have then, maybe come to Weaverville. Well, that's me. 16 years ago, when my wife and I moved to the area, we both work in North Asheville. Couldn't find a house anywhere that fit us, and we We then decided to expand our search, and we looked at one house in Weaverville, and we really liked it, but we were nervous about, like, oh, I don't know if I want to live in sleepy Weaverville. That weekend was Art in Autumn, and we came to that, and it blew our minds. Like, I mean, it totally changed our perspective. And as a result, it played a dramatic role in our living in Weaverville. For better or for worse, right? I mean, but we love Art in Autumn. We love Music on Main. We love all the events, and yeah, strong supporter.
I also want to say I support WBA. I know that they do great work, and out of all the council members, I'll probably go the most of them because I live just down the street. But I really am pleased with the offerings that are here. The only concerns that I have revolve around blocking Main Street, and that's for any event. I'm a nurse, so I consider life safety one of my big concerns. And I am concerned, and I spoke with Fiona about this before, about blocking the Main Street business corridor. And if there was a way that we could move some things, I'm not ever saying stop them because I love these events, so I'm not saying stop the events. But if we could move the events to where the business corridor is left open, that allows the egress from the fire department to get to the south side of town. Right now, let me tell you exactly the number. Their average response call time is 5 minutes and 57 seconds for the fire department. They don't really watch the first responder calls as closely as they do the fire calls. But 5 minutes and 57 seconds. Imagine, let's just say, God forbid, there's a fire up on the Hamburg Crossing, and they're having to detour and go out Church Street and down Alabama and then wind back around to try to get to the south side of town. My concern is that delay in getting an emergency response there, be it fire department or a first responder call or even the police department on that side of town, that delay could cost someone their life. And so if there was a way that we could move some of these events from Prescription Pad to Main Street or put things in the nature park, I think that would create a safer environment for our community. But again, it's not that at all that I don't want to support your events. I do support your events. I'm just concerned with the growth of the town, with the hospital coming and all these other challenges that we're facing with increased traffic and increased people coming to this town. We've got to make sure that we keep everyone safe on the south side when we're blocking Main Street. So I'm happy to sit down with any of you all and discuss my thoughts, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. But again, you know, I have to think about my fire department. I have to think about the police department. I have to think about the citizens that live on the south side of town when we don't have a fire department there that's responding to calls. So if we could just be mindful of those things, I would appreciate it. And just be mindful of, you know, when we have events, it is an ask of our personnel to give up their weekend, and they're working overtime to come in to provide these events. They're happy to do it, but you know, if we can keep the numbers that we have, just like Mr. Roya says, I think that's great. But we just need to be very mindful of what we're asking. I wish it was in the budget of the town that we could support the salary of your administrator, but this has been a very, very tough budget year for us. We have to consider every penny that's coming out of this budget because the citizens of this town are footing the bill. And I can't support a salary that is not part of the town employee's salary, if that makes sense. Not again that I don't support what you guys are doing, but we just have to be very mindful of the money. So I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you guys. I support what you're doing. I thank you for what you're doing, but we just need to be very mindful of all of these concerns.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I speak? I was waiting to see if Peter was gonna just go down the line. You got anything to? Let's go down the line.
I think for everybody, the downtown merchants that I've talked to, they know that they have an ally in me. They have a friend in me. It's a great song, Randy Newman. You know, you're right. There are some budget concerns, and we have to deal with those. I also do believe that it's one of the duties of council to help its town and to help its town thrive economically. And the WBA does that. And we need to have a liaison, and it's just not gonna be individual business owners coming and sending individual emails. We like being able to talk with FION. We like being able to talk and communicate directly with the WBA. I know I was in Mangum not too long ago. We had a short, you might not, may or may not remember, but I had a short conversation with you and with Ms. Spooner as well, with Amy. And I think that it's so important to foster these types of communications, whether it's bathrooms. Oh my gosh, bathrooms. But you know, you're right, the budget is tight this year. It's a new year with new concerns. Not gonna do bathrooms this year. I know that might be disappointing for some folks. And I'm sad to hear about the Shamrock Festival. I like the Shamrock Festival. I support as many events as we can get away with. I do understand the safety concerns. I also understand that there are public works, fire, police, and overtime, and there's a lot that goes into it. But if we can make that work, I think, bottom line, is that these events and the support we can give to the WBA will drive the town economically, and the more we can do for that, the more we're going to benefit in all respects. As a town, through revenues, with our merchants, providing jobs, it's all tied together. So.
I agree.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go down the line. Would you like to say anything, Mayor?
Actually, I would.
Go ahead.
Council, I want to speak briefly in support of appointing Mark Indries as our rep.
We're still talking about the WBA. Yes.
Go ahead.
He's skipping.
I would just like to say, as a longtime resident of Weaverville, that I really appreciate all the local businesses on Main Street and the diversity and interest. I'm supportive of the events. Sometimes music on Main I can hear while I'm working in the yard, so I don't even have to leave my yard if I don't want to. But I am supportive of all the events, and I think the collaboration between the town and the merchants is a great thing, and I think there's a balance that we can strike and continue these. So thank you.
So I'm going to disagree, and Scotty's not going to like me, and neither is Jennifer, but when Fiona and I had lunch the first time with a couple other council members, I think we need to fund it so we can afford it. You guys want to pay more in taxes, and it's 0.3%. You guys are looking at me like I'm crazy. I got an email right here. I want to pay more in taxes, 0.3%. He can fire Epsilon tomorrow and he has the 60 grand. I understand what the problem is. You can't have an employee working for Scotty and an employee working for you. But we have the money. Contrary, we're allowed to disagree. It's 0.3%. So I can put Tanya on the spot and say, add 60 grand to the 20,370,446, and what would the effective tax rate be on those? And that, I don't have those numbers. It's not going to be much more than 46 cents. So administering it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I am running a private business, and I sure wouldn't want to be partnered with the town over sharing an employee. So I have no idea how that would work. But from the day one when I had lunch at Twisted Laurel, I was in favor of spending the 60 grand. So my only request, if you want more of my dollars, and I do support the arts, is you got to be open after 5. The frustrate, and I'm actually serious. I work, and I come up and I eat at Glass Onion once or twice a week, and you guys are all closed, so you are leaving money on the table as far as the Nagel family is concerned, and that's okay. And I don't come to Art and Autumn because it's too crowded, but I will walk into your shops and I will buy your art, but if you're closed, you're not getting my money. I work on Saturdays, you know, around my property, and I work during the week, so stay open past 5. We do have the money. Don't let him tell you differently. He just doesn't want, trying to figure out how to do that isn't easy.
First Fridays is happening, right? Yeah. You know what that is?
No idea.
All right, so first Friday of the month, you're opening it till what, 8? Yeah.
Until 8, first Friday, June, July, August, September.
Trying to think of when I get paid, if that times with my paycheck.
You're on the hook. We're not sure your face on a Friday.
I get paid on Thursday. I think we can make that work.
You get a company car, you're fine.
You could company car mine. Yeah, that ain't happening.
But, yeah.
You want to go down Michael, I got a town card. We can go Michael Boaz on him.
Oh, God.
Anyways, thank you for your support. As everybody else said, we think you're a great organization and vital to the town. Good luck getting your money. We'll see.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Council, if I may, for one point of clarification on the numbers that Fionn talked about, the 85,000, I mean, I'm not sure what that is. The only number as far as staff has give out on the management side is, I've talked about the July 4th event, which is a town event, and that's approximately 65 to 75,000 with that event, because you've got the show in itself that you're shooting for the fireworks, as well as using our overtime things. And that came up when before, I think it was 2 councils ago, that they talked about discussing whether or not they want to continue the fireworks events. So I mean, so I know that number was out there from staff, and that's the only number that I've discussed as far as, that large of a number in that, and that, that does correlate, and that is a town event. But it's paying for the band, the stage, the show to be shot that night, as well as our staff overtime. We were asked to calculate that when they were looking at whether or not they want to continue that event. So,
Thank you, it's good input.
I think it was still cheaper than a drone show, wasn't it, John?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so it's my turn, everybody?
Yes.
Council, I want to speak briefly in support of appointing Mark Indries as our representative to the MSD Board. Mark understands his responsibility as a town council member to act in the best interest of Weaverville's residents and to support the systems that keep this town running. On the planning board, he's already shown how he approaches that work with practical skill, technical understanding, and a willingness to roll up his sleeves. His GIS mapping of water lines and hydrants has made life easier for fire, public works, and planning staff. What really stands out is the preparation he's already done for this role. Mark has reviewed the MSD charter, gone through their website and meeting minutes, and even reached out to the current board chair. That's above and beyond what most organizations would expect at this stage, and it shows real initiative. His background in planning and GIS gives him a solid foundation for understanding how MSD decisions affect our local operations. I believe he would be a strong, well-prepared, and reliable liaison for Weaverville. That said, I'd like to make a motion and move that Town Council appoint Mark Indries to serve as the town's representative on the Metropolitan Sewerage District, the MSD Board, for the unexpired term ending on December the 31st, 2027. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed?
No.
Ayes have it.
He's appointed. We just voted. Can't unvote.
So, active,
If you're now jump, are we gonna go ahead and do
Do Reagan.
the G from?
Can we do Reagan?
Oh, right.
what are we doing?
So I had asked that, we pulled 5 Reagan Lane off the consent agenda and just needed clarification a little bit. I have my own thoughts on it, but clarification of what the next step is. And I think we were gonna set a public comment hearing on it, but it's the first I saw of this at all, and I read the planning board's recommendations, but would like to talk about it more before we just jump into setting a public hearing.
Would you like Mr. Eller to briefly describe?
Be great.
Okay.
If we can go to page 42 and/or 46 on the packet of information, you'll find a map that illustrates the two properties. The one that's highlighted on this particular screen is 5 Reagan. Unaddressed Reagan is directly next to it to the west, which is basically the unoccupied field between that home and the roof line that you see to the left of the screen is Goodwill. Staff has been in possession of the zoning map amendment since either January or February. It went to the planning board for the first time in March. That original application called for C2 zoning. The planning board for both of these parcels offered a unanimous negative recommendation to town council, which we've just kind of kept on ice because the variables have changed. We met with the property owner following that planning board meeting, and the negative recommendation that they were going to forward to council, at which point both owners involved chose to amend their zoning map amendment from C2 down to C1.
Will you enlighten us or refresh our memories? What's the difference between C2 and C1?
I can tell you the one that came up most at the planning board level was drive-throughs. Cannot have them in C1, can in C2. There are a few other differences, but that one was a large driver of the conversation.
Drive-through like in a drive-through restaurant or a bank with a drive-through?
That is correct.
My concern, just looking at it, and I'm sure the state DOT has their rules, on either pieces of those property, I can't see with the traffic light there and the traffic we already have on Weaver Boulevard, having any entrance to Weaver Boulevard. I don't know what the statute is, but we learned with Northwood Farms, the DOT has no common sense. So, especially the second piece of property, I don't know how you'd have anything unless you came in off of Reagan Lane. Was there any of that?
Trying to make a left-hand turn off of, from here to go in there would be a nightmare, and trying to come out of there and make a left-hand turn would be a nightmare. And so I see that the traffic itself would be very, very challenging. And I know that that little drive that goes into Goodwill, it's just a tiny little spot that makes a sharp curve immediately after you turn in there. So I don't know how, on the unaddressed piece, how they would get into there, and I don't know if DOT would allow another access on the boulevard that close to the traffic light. So, you know, if it's, well, so we've got two pieces, I'm getting mixed up here. But the C1 on Reagan, or C2 on Reagan, C1 I think is more restrictive.
Yes.
I know that years ago, the property across the street that is a long brick house, Mary Sue Brown lives in that house. Years ago, her father bought that property with hopes of putting a gas station there, and it was denied. And so they were not able to put a gas station, and that's where the long brick house and the lot is. All of that was going to be a gas station. And so now that's residential, and then it's residential really all up and down that side of Main Street until you get to about the doctor's office. And so I think it would be kind of out of place if we put a commercial piece in there with all of the homes that are around there.
It seems like going from an R1 to a C1 is a really big jump.
That's a big jump.
It seems like that has been kind of discouraged in the past. I also have concerns about just the proximity. Just Reagan Lane is not a very accessible street for one residence. It's probably fine.
But putting a
Yes.
business in there, getting in and out of there would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already challenging for public works, if I understand correctly.
I think this is really important conversation for town council, and I'm sure Mr. Lasher is probably paying attention to these comments. You do have an application, 2 applications before you, and before you make any decisions at all, you need to have a public hearing.
Okay.
And so I think I would recommend that you set the public
Sure.
hearings either as requested for June 22nd at 6, or whatever other day you want to have
That
those.
doesn't bother me. I thought that would be the case, and I just wanted, I mean, because I hadn't seen it, and I don't like, it's my own idiosyncrasies, things that matter, I'd rather not see on the consent agenda, but, we had to kind of, it's the right thing to do to have a public hearing then. So thank you for allowing me that folly.
So the first one, we've got 5 Reagan Lane, which is the property that's highlighted. And again, both of these applications are requesting a zoning map amendment from R1 to C1. Is there a motion to set the public hearing on that one?
So
for
moved.
June 22 at 6. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Unless there's other discussion, same request for the unaddressed Reagan Lane, which was the property to the west of 5 Reagan.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
I think I'm up if we're ready to move on to what's on the, I think next, which is the Active Weaverville Committee, Recreation Advisory Committee. Good evening. Wanted you to know that staff does pay attention to your strategic plan that you adopted in November-ish. And one of the items actually calls for an update to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and as a high priority item, and staff would like a little bit of help on that. In several years back, 2017 as a matter of fact, there was a Recreation Advisory Committee that was put in place really for the primary purpose of establishing that master plan. That committee has been inactive since that original work was completed. But also in 2023, when the Active Weaverville Bicycle Pedestrian Plan was adopted, there was a steering committee that the town manager put in place for that purpose. And that Active Weaverville Committee has continued to be in place and doing some work to support not only that bike ped plan, but also just, I think in general, some active lifestyle within the town. My thought is that this affords us an opportunity to combine 2 things into one, and kind of broaden the task of the Active Weaverville Committee to include some assistance with the master plan. I've spoken to Jeff McKenna, who is, I don't know whether he's formally the chairman of that committee or not, but he is certainly one of the longer standing members on that committee, and therefore a unofficial leader, if not official. And he was supportive of that concept.
Okay.
So tonight, I'm just asking, does that feel like a good path forward on this? If there's consensus, we'll go in that direction.
Yes.
I'm seeing
Yes.
lots of nods.
Strongly support that idea.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fire Chief Cataflex.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Chief Harris, distinguished members of council. It's my pleasure to come before you and give my quarterly report, my first one here at the town. So I will try to be brief, but I could talk about this department all day long, any of you that want to listen. So just to give you a little rundown of what we've done over the last quarter, you can see we had 527 calls in the months of February, March, and April. 30 of those being fires, or about 5.69%. Hazardous situations, we had 17 calls, or about 3.22%. Law enforcement support, where we gave support to our friends in the police department, we had 1 call was classified as that. In the medical category, we had 239 calls, or about 45.35%. No emergency found, false alarms, things of that nature. We had 118, or about 22.39%. Public service, we had 111, or 21.06. and rescue calls, we had 11 of those for 2.08%. Just a little pie chart there to kind of lay it out a little bit better, a little better visual on how our calls are breaking down and how the bulk of those are falling in that medical range types of calls. When we look at the location of our calls and we think about whether they were in the town or whether they were in the county or mutual aid, 224 of those calls were within the town, 42.5%. 241 or 45.73% were in the county, and then we had 62 calls for mutual aid where we provided aid to other departments around us, which was 11.76% of our total call volume. One thing that I want to point out with this next slide, you know, in my short time being here, I've only been here just shy of a month now. I keep walking out on the apparatus floor and I see the guys out there doing training, or all of our firefighters out there doing training, and it seems like that's what they're doing all day, every day. And I keep thinking tomorrow the new fire chief mode is going to wear off and they're going to go back to their normal operation. But what I see every single day is they're out there doing training, and it's evident with what we've got up here on this slide. We had 896 training events across all of our members, are averaging out to about just shy of 29 training events per individual on the department, with 2,681 hours across all members, or an average of 86.5 hours of training per member across the department. On top of that, we did 258 physical fitness training events and about 467 hours of physical fitness training that's being logged for our firefighters to keep them in good shape and be ready to go out there and do the job that we need to do to protect our citizens. That point is pretty evident. I felt this was very important to add into my presentation. This was a letter that was sent to us. It was asked to be anonymous, but it was by one of our EMS partners that has been working out of our station and going out, and I'll read this. She put, recently I've had the opportunity to be present and watch the department work and train together a good bit. What I have observed is a group of firemen who are professional and diligent when the calls drop and train like it matters in their downtime. They train and work to build each other up and do so without complaining or belittling each other. They care about their building, their equipment, and most importantly, each other. I don't know very much about the fire service, but as someone who frequents a lot of stations and departments, what I have witnessed is not the norm, but it should be the standard. And that speaks volumes about our firefighters. They are taking this seriously. They're out there doing the training. Like I said, I see them out there all day, every day doing something. And it really makes me feel good to be a part of that, an organization such as this. With our fire marshal update, in this first slide, you'll notice it kind of looks like our fire marshal wasn't that busy, but I'll get to another slide here in just a second that will show just how busy he was. Under Safe Kids and Child Care seat installations, in February he did 6, in March he did 2, and in April he did 4. With commercial business inspections, in February he did 6 inspections, in March 8, and in April he did 9 inspections. But what took up the bulk of his time during this quarter was our fire prevention and education classes and some of the other things that he has taken on that are extremely valuable to not only our department and our town, but to our citizens. They did a career day at North Windy Ridge Intermediate School, where they interacted with 456 kids during that event. Our fire marshal took on our ISO rating inspection for the fire department. While we have not yet received our scoring yet, we anticipate that to come in probably in the next month or so, but we are hearing that it went quite well. With our OSHA inspection, this was a multi-day process across all departments of the town. There were some issues that were identified. Most of these were minor issues. They were corrected, and now we are back within full compliance, and we expect them to be back in town in November to do the next inspection for us. You know, my first weekend as a town employee, I had this great event to attend, the awards banquet that was held on April 25th at the clubhouse at Reems Creek Golf Course. This was a great event. You know, I felt very, very honored to be involved in events such as this. We were very pleased to see some of our town leadership team, some of our council members, some of our county leaders were in attendance. It was a great event, great fellowship, great food, by the way. And it was an opportunity for us to recognize the hard work of our firefighters over the last year. During this banquet, we gave out 4 awards. We gave one out for the Chief Officer of the Year, the Officer of the Year, the Firefighter of the Year, and the Chief's Award that went to different individuals. Just to give you a little bit of a understanding of how these were chosen, these individuals that won these awards, they were nominated by their peers based on the work that they've done over the last year. Once we received all of these nominations, we sent those off to a third party that was completely outside of our organization with the names redacted so that they could review these nominations on their merit without names attached, so there was no bias or no potential bias. The ones that were chosen as our award recipients for Chief Officer of the Year was Fire Marshal Kyle Davis, in no short part for his work during the ISO and the OSHA inspections and all the other things that he does throughout his day. Our Officer of the Year went to Captain Justin Dobson. Our Firefighter of the Year went to Firefighter Peyton Street. And our Chief's Award went to Captain Austin Crane, who was not pictured in our slide, our next slide there. He was not able to attend, but he has done a phenomenal job, and I am seeing in my short time here why each of these members deserve the awards that they won. They truly earned these awards. Just to give you a quick update on two of the 3 apparatus that we have on order right now. This is our first engine that we're going to receive. This is what is referred to as the stock engine. We are slated to do our final inspection on this on June 22nd. We'll be down there for a couple of days to inspect it, make sure everything exactly the way we want it, that there's no little, paint blemishes or any kind of issues that need to be identified that they will repair before it comes back or it comes into town. We anticipate that this engine being in service probably late July, but I'll say early August just to be safe. The other apparatus that I'll talk about, this is just the drawing of it. It is slated to begin production in September of this year, and we are anticipating delivery of this apparatus in November of this year. So we'll receive both of these new engines in the town before the end of the year, and we're very excited for that. That's going to help our fleet, it's going to help our firefighters be able to do their job more efficiently, and thank you all for your support in getting these apparatus, very needed apparatus to our firefighters. Thank you all very much. I'll be happy to answer or talk more about my firefighters at any time that you all would like. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Council, while Chief Oberlin was making her way up here, Chief Canifax had an opportunity to work with him some last week on some networking with some other chiefs across the state while I was presenting at the conference. He'll be going down Wednesday to meet with our legislators on some bills going through the House, and as part of our chiefs group going down to that. So he has definitely hit the ground running and networking and getting his feet under him. So we appreciate the opportunity he's provided us.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for staying, y'all.
Yeah.
Usually it vacates and I'm like talking to an empty room and yay, yeah. And to mirror the sentiment, the police department enjoys working with the WBA too. So I'm sure we'll be able to find our way as things progress and grow. We'll start with the quarterly report here. Looks like with some of just our numbers for calls for service. We've talked about this before. The nicer the weather gets, the more we're out there. That's a joke all the time, but again, people come from all over the world to crash in Weaverville. So we have lots of motor vehicle collisions and things in those numbers. On the second page, you'll see that we have a big spike in the work on citations and warnings. Just want to touch on that briefly. That's in some of my past quarterly reports, you saw our new officers were completing radar. So now they can go out and respond to the many speeding complaints that we get and aggressively work areas, and they're getting ready to do some checkpoints and whatnot to address those concerns. I wanted to also point out that in the April 17 arrests that you see there in the right-hand column, a lot of those were generated during those traffic stops by the folks in the car who had warrants. So they're being very effective getting out there.
Chief, real quick, if you go back to that slide, and I don't know if we've mentioned this previously or if I have ever mentioned it, if it's cyclical based on the time of the year and whatnot, has anybody ever asked you to show month to the previous year month?
Yeah, I can do that if that's
I don't know if
something that you're ever
matters
interested
to
in.
you
I did
guys.
a year-by-year comparison, but I can go.
Yeah, I mean, if
back
April's
and
a spike
forth.
and it's always a spike, so we might be going, oh my gosh, it's double February, but you're like, the weather's better, how's it compared to April a year
Right.
ago? I mean, that.
And you have things like spring break that bring a lot of people
Yep.
to the area, and folks that aren't necessarily at school or work, that are coming out into a lot of the commercial spaces
If
and
you,
whatnot.
yeah, for me, if she showed year over year, maybe it'd be.
Just do a
Yep.
trailing 12.
Yeah. If
Alright,
it's
now.
cyclical because of that.
That's why you find out if it's cyclical.
Sorry, jotting notes so I don't forget.
Or show it both ways. Make you,
Yeah.
give you more work to do.
Hooray! In activities of interest, I won't read them all off to you, but one of the questions I got asked during Citizens Academy is, what do you mean that you took 6 guns off the street? So we're not talking about your Second Amendment rights to have guns. But what we are talking about is folks that had concealed weapons during traffic stops that should not have. Firearms by felons that we're encountering, some that they run and are stolen and have been recovered, and one that was charged as a weapon of mass destruction for its alterations. So, moving down, you'll see that we collaborated with DOT to develop a better warning system concerning the high centering at the 5-point intersection. If you've ever had the joy of being stuck at the intersection while there's a semi kind of suspended there, DOT came to meet with us and we talked about how many problems we had, and one of the detectives had kept a photo montage of all of them that had been stuck there, and it was very compelling. So they created these signs. They are not out in other places in the world. These
They're
were
custom for us.
They used to be railroad tracks, and now they're a road, right? So they did modify those. And if you want to go out and see them out in the wild, there are 2 on North Buncombe School Road and 1 on Monticello. So they also added in the special direction. So the reason that that's happening is that the bridge at exit 18 is too short for the big tall loads. So they have to divert the traffic that is traveling. If they're headed towards Asheville, for example, they get off at Flat Creek exit 17 and are directed up North Buncombe School Road and across the 5-point intersection, down Monticello, turn left on the boulevard, re-enter the interstate on Weaver Boulevard. Are you following me?
Yep.
But that 5-point intersection has a high center point that if it's a low riding semi-truck, it high centers there, and the only way to get them off is to have a massive tow truck, not your standard neighbor's tow truck, come out and pick up a semi and move it through there, and it closes the intersection down. So now they're adding special instructions into that diversion plan for the truck drivers as well. So between the special instructions and the signs for their little pilot cars that go out first, we're hoping to see less of that happening. And we were really excited to work with them. Shamrock Festival, I know they're talking about discontinuing it, but I do want to say there were no ABC violations. They did a great job of working the social district down there. Thanks for that, y'all. If I was moving to the next page, we talked briefly about the PSIP. Remember the folks that came here and talked to you about Buncombe County's PSIP? We're still working on that. The chiefs were in a meeting with the folks from Buncombe County last week to try to get more equitable distribution of charges, but just today they added another charge for the language line and things. So they seem to be, when we are trying to work through some of those, just finding more areas to add billing. that picture I thought was kind of funny, because it's at North Buncombe High School, and I said, boy, the kids are looking younger and younger to me these days. But it was actually at the high school, it's just the child care program, but they were asked to come out. So high schoolers were there too, that was just a cuter picture. Oh, yeah, oh, look at that, yay. And we did that on purpose, Graham. Yeah. We passed the OSHA inspection with 0 deficiencies, that was exciting. The FAA authorization allows the police department to operate drones for public safety purposes, such as locating missing persons, documenting crash scenes, assisting during emergencies, improving officer and community safety, and being able to do that from a distance while following the strict FAA safety regulations. The goal in all of this work will be to eventually not have to have 2 officers when we deploy a drone. There is quite an extensive plan that you can go through that would allow them to fly it remotely. The only other agency right now that we know of in Western North Carolina that's doing that is Asheville when they deploy theirs. So that's a big deal. That took a lot of work from the drone guys. Captain, that's Derek Burrell, for those of you who don't know him, celebrated 20 years, look at his little baby face there. And I did want to mention thanks for allowing us to start recruiting. We have successfully recruited a female, that would be the 2nd female officer for the agency, so hooray, and we'll hope to have her, golly, I know, right? Woo-hoo, that'd be so hard, yeah. Training and professional development's pretty self-explanatory there, you've seen those. The final page there, beyond calls for service, I do try to talk to you guys about more than just where folks go into traffic collisions and pulling people over. And I thought it was really interesting to start having us try to keep track of how many public records requests we get and the kind of time that it takes for us to process those. Because it's not just go to the file and send a piece of paper. Every single request has to be gone through for us to try to determine who has the right to the information, can we verify who they are, who is requesting it, so that we're not giving out information to people who don't have the right to it, what is supposed to be withheld along the way, how to protect people. So for the administrative coordinator, she does accident reports for both the drivers and insurance companies, but you actually have to make sure that it's the drivers that you're releasing it to and not their sister or their cousin or their ex-girlfriend or whatever, because it has all of their personal information on it. We keep records of everybody that's requested those documents. Incident reports have lengthy redactions, so everything has to be gone through and redacted on a case-by-case basis. We have folks that ask about address histories, or just today, this wasn't necessarily a public records request, but things where people walk in and they'd like their tow request, but all they can tell you is that an officer paddock towed their car. If you're not familiar, we don't have an officer paddock. And so now we're trying to figure out who towed their car. Was it even us? Where does Officer Paddock work? If we're nice, we could just send them out the door. But she takes the time to search down who has Officer Paddock or where can they find their vehicle to start the search.
The repo center.
What's that?
Officer Paddock works for the repo company.
Yeah, right. So, so then she has the 17 vehicles released from impound. Again, we have to make sure that they even have the right to get the vehicle out of impound. If they haven't rectified the fact that they don't have any insurance, then they can only have it towed out of the impound. They can't go there and release it and drive it away. So there's a lot of work that she does. When you go down the list, some of the more complex you see requests from me are things like media statements. So some are easy, like did I want to comment on Rodney retiring? That was fine. You know, and other ones are far more complicated when I'm asked to give media statements. I do work often with a law firm that you saw maybe in my professional services, some that came up. They are specifically law enforcement related so that they can help me work through that. But those documents take days to weeks to sift through with the attorneys while we figure out what we can and cannot release along the way. And you have other places like Clint Parker. I get requests from the FBI, folks that have been victims of swatting, and also the people online. You don't think about it till they're asking you, who make a living off of posting police information. You know, those videos that you're watching on YouTube about XYZ gone wrong or that kind of stuff. So they want access to our stuff, and we have to work diligently to answer all of those public records requests. But it takes a lot of time, and I thought it would be insightful to share that with you. That's it for me. Do you have questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
There was a public comment, and to put you on the spot.
I should have brought my folder.
Have you seen it yet? No?
Depends on what one. There were a handful.
Flock surveillance.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. Enlighten me,
Okay.
if you would.
So we are not in a contractual agreement with Flock Safety. We don't have any Flock cameras, although I can definitely see their usefulness, particularly when it comes to investigations. Where we had thought about putting them were at the gateways to the city. The cameras do not run people's information. The cameras are specifically documenting what type of vehicle is coming through. So let's say that a suspect to a major crime for us is a white 4Runner with a sticker in the back window. It can be looking for those things, or a specific license plate. And once you enter it in as a vehicle that you're searching for, if it passes through any of the other Flock cameras in the area, it will alert you to their presence or direction of travel and things like that. A couple instances recently that I would say they would have been helpful, if you wanted an example, would be that there was a traffic stop in Buncombe County, and a sheriff's deputy was run over by the car, and the occupants who were in a stolen vehicle. They crashed not too long after that and stole another person's vehicle. Strong arm kind of stole that from them. Stole another person's vehicle and continued to flee. We knew they were headed in this direction from Leicester, but there's a lot of ways to turn when you're coming from Leicester. So we set up around the perimeter, but it turned out he stole another vehicle, so we didn't know what we were looking for. By the time he got here, he stole a vehicle from a Weaverville resident on Aiken Road. Sorry, Mr. Nagel.
That happens.
Yeah, and fled the area. We did identify that, entered that information so that Flock cameras would pick it up, or shared that information so the Flock cameras would pick it up. And he was picked, followed on camera into Yancey.
Perfect.
And off through Boone and whatnot, and eventually apprehended, but only after he'd stolen a number of cars and run people over. It could have been stopped much earlier.
Okay, so it's public record, right? The comment's public record, so I could say her name? Or I will say her name. Beth Bertram said, "I'm writing as a concerned citizen to ask you to drop our contract with Flock.
We don't have it.
Come to meetings, be informed. Don't waste my time. Don't tell us to do something we're not doing."
Right.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
if you don't
Anything
mind,
else?
I want to make one quick comment about MPO.
Sure.
It will take a second. I just want to make a comment about activity through the Municipal Planning Organization. We were awarded, or the town of Weaverville, or our area was awarded an express design for the Reems Creek Modernization Project that would cover from Merriman Avenue out to Ballard Branch, Ballard Road. What's an express design, you ask? Well, it's meant to be a quick design of a potential transportation project developed in collaboration with the NCDOT, the MPO, and local government staff. These designs serve primarily as a tool to get a better idea of the potential cost of a project, and can also serve to look at high-level issues that a project may encounter. And so it's just like it said, it's just a sort of a summary look at what the cost to modernize Reems Creek Road would be. In my eyes, any attention on road improvement projects around here is a win, and so I'm thrilled that we were awarded that express design.
Thank you.
Very good. Any further business to come before council? None being seen, this meeting is adjourned.